Hey everybody, it's Saturday afternoon, about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'm coming to you from, well, a new laptop to me. Going through it right now. Somebody at work was nice enough to give it to me because my other one, well, it didn't really die. It just needs a monitor, so what I want to do with that is get a secondary monitor and to hook it up to that because the laptop works and stuff like that. The monitor. So he was nice enough to give me this laptop. It had Windows 7 on it, and I had to go through it and reinstall Windows 10, going through fixing all the updates and deleting a lot of the junk and setting all the settings and going through the whole process that I do to get a laptop up and going to try to make it as safe as possible the way I use it and go from there. So I've been spending a lot of time with that. He was nice enough to do that for me. So it's nice to be back online until I get that other one. Now that allows me to not have to go buy a laptop. This will get me through what I need to get done and also allow me to maybe spend the money on a monitor to get for the other laptop, set that up, and then slowly have a nice little network going at home. The other thing too is somebody contacted me, I think it was Thursday night, on LinkedIn. I'd mentioned on LinkedIn that it was a big setback because of not having a laptop and being able to do certain things that you can only do on a laptop that you can't do on the phone, and go from there. And I posted all this well, I didn't post a lot of it. I posted a little bit of it, just a small briefing, and went through that kind of thing. And a couple people made comments on what they did and stuff like that. And somebody had contacted me via Messenger and said, "What kind of laptop are you looking for?" And I told them the type that I had, and I had it for a few years. I had a good run with it and stuff like that. It's a simple fix. I mean, like I said, it's just I got to get the monitor for it. So, which is kind of good anyway. Rather than just have the little one, I'll just have a bigger monitor and I'll hook that up to it. And I'll just have a nice little big monitor for that kind of thing and work with that. But we were talking and stuff, and I sent him my address and told him what kind of laptop I was using, and we talked a little bit more when I was at work at lunch, back and forth through Messenger. And he had taken a picture of the send form that he had sent it to me. He had sent one. Now I don't know if it's brand new or if he had some laying around or where he got it from. I didn't really ask. I mean, this was a nice thing to do for somebody, for IT. His thing was he didn't want me to lose any time or not be able to further my training that I do or trying to learn for the IT stuff that I want to do. See, I do the difference between IT and cybersecurity. Everybody wants to get into cybersecurity. Everyone wants to be a hacker. I want to be a hacker. I want to put hacker up in my name. And I never understood that, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm able to use this little laptop, so now I'm able to get on Try Hack Me, and I'm able to go through this on this little laptop, and it's kind of cool. It's real nice. And the great thing about it is I was able to use it and update it to Windows 10 because it had Windows 7 on it. And Windows 10, Windows 7 are compatible. Now the thing with Windows 7 is Microsoft gave up on that. They don't use that no more. They don't bother with it. They don't update it. They don't do any of that kind of thing. A lot of people still use Windows 7. So I'm able to get Windows 10 on it. And Windows 10 is going to expire in 2025. And now they got Windows 11 coming out. So I'm sort of like when I had 8.1, I'm not in a rush to get Windows 11, and there's still a lot of problems with that. I'm not going to be able to put it on this, but I'll be able to use this for a while and use it for backup or something like that. But it's something that I'm able to use to get me by until I get this other laptop and get a monitor for my original laptop. I also have a guy I work with. I might have mentioned this in other videos and stuff, that a guy goes to a junkyard and what they do, or a scrapyard, and what they do is they put laptops aside for him, and he picks them up. I think he gives a small fee or stuff like that, but he just grabs a whole bunch of this stuff, and I don't know if he has a sale for him to where he's getting them from the scrapyard, so I don't know where he would resell them to, another scrapyard or something. I don't know what he does, but he brought in some last week it was. And I looked at a couple, and I took a couple home with me. I still haven't looked at them yet because I was trying to get this one set up, and I'm going to go through them. The thing with these laptops is they're pretty old. I mean, you just look at them and tell they're pretty old. and they have Vista on it, Windows Vista, which you're not going to be able to really upgrade to anything on there. I'm going to take them apart probably tomorrow. I'll take them apart. See if, first thing I'm going to do is see if they have a hard drive in it. The other problem with this is I don't have any chargers for it, so I have to plug them in. I can't charge them or do anything with them because I don't have a charger for it. Now Walmart and Amazon, they have these universal chargers, and I told them that, you know, get me a universal charger to use, and I can go through it and plug it in and see what we can do with it and stuff like that, and we'll go from there. And I did a little bit of research. I'm going to research on them a little bit more on the exact models. I did a little bit of research on it, and some of these, I mean, these, I think one of the laptops is discontinued. I got to make a note of that and put that on there so we know that that's been discontinued. And because they have, well, they have Windows Vista on it, so you figure they've been out a long time. And I don't think Windows 10 is going to be able to be compatible with that sort of thing, so we really can't do much with that unless we just wipe the hard drive and go from there. I mean, there's ways around that kind of thing with this technology. You know, there's tricks that you can do and stuff like that. He's got a bunch of hard drives, and we can just go from there and, you know, see what we can do. But the problem with that is it starts getting pricey, it gets time consuming, and I don't want to put a lot of time into them. And I don't want to break him. He's a decent guy, so I don't want to break him and say, okay, well, you know, because normally I do that sort of thing when I used to do updates and stuff like that for people, or I would troubleshoot and stuff like that. Not many, but I would do. My voice is dying for some reason. I don't know. This weather's ridiculous down here. It's all over the place. So the thing with that is, I used to do it for $40. And if you do that sort of thing, you take it to a shop, you're going to pay a lot of money. So I don't want to break the guy too much, because if I do each good, that's $120. You know, I could probably do it. You know, I could say I'll do it for $60 for all three. But then, you know, $60, he gives me $60. Say he can't sell the laptop or something like that, or say he can only get, you know, you do refurbished laptops and you see them online, but they're newer models. And you see them for like $60, $70, $80. I've seen them for refurbished HP, refurbished this and stuff, laptops. But what they do is, you know, whoever's refurbishing these laptops, they've got the time, they've got the, you know, the equipment to do this kind of stuff. You know, if they need to put any kind of hardware in or something like that, they can do that sort of thing. It really doesn't cost them much, and they make a nice profit on it, or they break even or something like that. But they're making money on that kind of thing. But it's good work experience. It's good hands-on experience to do this kind of thing, and for me anyway, to look at this stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. You know, it was nice enough, like I said, that guy that contacted me online. That's why I try to tell people all the time, man, about contacts. It doesn't matter that you have. I always see, I mention in videos, and people mention that in order to build up a network on there, you know, you got to have thousands upon thousands of people, and, you know, 20, 30,000 people. And I've seen people that I've just hit the, you know, I've seen people post where they just hit the 50,000 mark on LinkedIn, or the 50,000 mark on Twitter. Well, that's fine, but those 50,000 people, are they doing anything for you? You know, I've got less than 200 connections and followers on LinkedIn, because I'm not one of those ones that just keep hitting connect, or I don't keep hitting follow. You know, I could sit there and spend 5 minutes just hitting connect button all day and just connect with a whole bunch of people, and say I hit the connect button 70 times with 70 people, and I get 5 connections out of that. Okay, well, I wasted all that time and energy just doing that nonsense, so it makes no sense to me. Plus, like I said, I've got less than 200, and this one guy contacted me, and he's got a lot of, we both had the same connections, a lot of the same connections. So, and he's in the IT cybersecurity field and stuff like that, and we got to talking. Even after he sent it, we were talking yesterday back and forth Messenger, and, you know, talking about what I want to look into, getting into this cybersecurity field. Well, not cybersecurity, I want to get into IT. I want to get into working with the servers and the data center and stuff like that. And I had mentioned something about that I want to do. I'd like to do a hands-on with a hot site. and go from there, from ground up, and do that sort of thing, and get the experience and see how these kind of things are done and all these kind of things. Now the thing with hot sites is you got data centers and you got data recovery centers, which are, you got network operating centers and you've got security operating centers, and they're basically data recovery. Sort of like it kind of goes all over. That's why I say the biggest thing about cybersecurity is, it's everywhere with anything that you can do. I mean, there's just everything involved with this kind of stuff, with cloud computing and now AI and machine learning and all this kind of stuff, where they're doing all this kind of stuff and putting all this in here. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I took a shot with this, installed the Windows 10 on there. I had a stick that I bought months ago and put it in there and installed it, and I'm still going through a couple things, still seeing a couple errors and stuff like that, still trying to delete a lot of the junk and configure some stuff and everything like that. But it's normally what I do. Even when I get a new laptop, it's something that I do anyway with my new laptop. I just go ahead and set my configurations, check my settings, change default where I need to change default, and not allow this, not allow that, set timing for this, set timing for that. There's a lot of process to go. A lot of people, to each their own, they don't want to bother with a lot of it, and they just go through the process and they just say, okay, well, let me plug it in, charge the battery. Can I get on Facebook? Great. Can I get on email? Yeah. Can I get on YouTube? Great. And they're good to go, and they're done. That causes a lot of problems, not just for hacking, but it causes a lot of problems with, the use in general for this sort of thing. So I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I need to get to some Try Hack Me stuff. Not only to keep I'm not far away from a 30-day badge, but I need to go back, and what I want to do is, I couldn't do a lot of it on the phone with the configuration, starting the machines and going through, so I kind of cheated a little bit and Google searched some stuff, copied and pasted to put in there, just to keep the flow going, just so that I can answer a question every day. And sure, there's some free stuff on there that you just have to click the thing and it goes through, but I'm not far from, I'm a couple days away from getting a 30-day badge, and I think it opens up something else when you get 30 days in a row. I've seen people get 90 days in a row and stuff, but for me, with Try Hack Me, I want to get on there and really understand this stuff and see how it's done. I really want to see how this is done. When I open up one of their machines and I start doing this kind of stuff with the steps that they tell you, say, okay, well, run this command, ping this, ping that, and run this. And then when you start getting into tools like Wireshark and Burp Suite, and you start getting into here, and you start seeing how these tools operate and what they do, and you get to see it firsthand on how this stuff works, and you get familiar with the screens and stuff like that. Because I think a lot of it with the big thing is the Network Plus and the Security Plus, and I think a lot of those scenarios are where you see these screens, or they show you these screens, and they'll ask you, what's going on here, how would you configure this, or what would the next step be, or what's wrong with this configuration, or what's happening here, or something like that. If you're not familiar with these screens, it doesn't matter if you know the terminology, it doesn't matter if you know a little bit about command line or anything like that, command prompt. If you don't know these screens, and some of these tools, they use a lot of these tools every single day. The next thing I want to do is I want to get into labs. I want to start building labs for home use and start getting into the whole real networking kind of thing of setting up and configuring, switches and, firewalls and doing all this kind of stuff in a virtual lab set up at home where I can just mess with it all the time. If it screws up, okay, fine, no loss, and just go from there and see how this stuff does. Because it's my understanding that a lot of this stuff, when you do this stuff and everything like that, this is all actually real world stuff. I mean, the stuff that you're going through, not so much on Try Hack Me, it's very basic, which is good, but as you go through the process and you start using these tools, it gets more and more advanced. You start getting into the pen testing, and you start using all these tools, and it gets a lot more to where you're actually getting more and more. It's less about theory and more about doing, and you really get involved with a lot of these tools and how they operate, and you're seeing how these things go and what's going on here and how to do this and how this happens. So you're starting to get really into the meat and bones of this kind of thing, which is great. So I'm hoping to be able to do this on this laptop and go from there. I got another one coming in, but like I always try to tell people, don't worry about getting 10,000 followers and 50,000 connections on LinkedIn, and don't follow any of that. Okay, just LinkedIn is a professional kind of site, so you want to be professional on there. You don't want to bring the Facebook nonsense over to there, even though some people are doing it. I'm starting to see more and more selfies. I'm starting to see a lot of it carry over to Twitter, which I'm not on Twitter too much, but they're showing, what they're showing meals that they had or where they went to lunch, and all those kind of selfies and stuff like that starting to show up a lot on Twitter. But LinkedIn is where you want to be with all this kind of stuff and connect with people. And you never know. I mean, hell, this guy might have a connection where, he follows what I'm doing and stuff like that, and he sees how I'm progressing and stuff like that, and you don't know. He might be able to be working at a company, or he might have a connection or something like that in my area and tells this guy, hey, here's a guy trying, here's a guy that can be trained, and here's what he's doing and stuff like that. Maybe they contact me and say, hey, we've got an opportunity for you. Don't worry about the experience or anything like that. We'll bring you in, we'll train you, we'll start you off slow, get you in there, get you involved with this, get you involved with this. Learn our system, learn how to do this, learn how to do that, and it goes from there. And next thing you know, you're an IT professional. That's how it works. So that's where I'm going to be spending my weekend. I have a 4-day weekend for Thanksgiving, which is great. 4-day weekend for Christmas, 4-day weekend for New Year's. So that's great. So I have all that free time where I got to do all this experience and stuff like that, going through that. I'm not going to worry about the labs yet. What I have to do is the Network Plus guide that I just won from the author. It's the Network Plus 8, which is the latest model. There's 25 chapters. The first 12 are the ones where you really got to spend a lot of time on. I mean, you got to spend and learn all that, because that's a lot of stuff. The back end of the 13 chapters, that's not so much. I'm not so concerned about that. What I'll do is I'll go through all that and get familiar with all that kind of stuff, and I think I'll be able to handle that pretty good and get that knocked out of the way and stuff like that, and really go into the first 12 chapters, really get them underway, and then maybe spend an entire weekend just going through practice questions. Just go through just to see where I stand and stuff like that. Make a note of everything where I need to work on and stuff like that, and just work on those practice questions and stuff like that. And they tell you, how many questions you got wrong, what your percentage rate is and stuff like that, and take it from there. So like I said, if you're trying to get into IT, know that for me, I look at it that way. There's a difference between IT and cybersecurity. It kind of coincide, but honestly, I think there's a difference between the two. And if you are on LinkedIn, get on there, try to make connections. Don't just sit there and start connecting, hit connect, and invite, follow, because you're not going to get that back. I remember when I first got on Twitter, people would start posting, if you follow me, I follow back. I don't see that happening. I don't follow a lot of people on Twitter. I try to keep it to where, okay, what can I learn from this person? Or how can I contribute to this person? Is this person so advanced in IT or cybersecurity that when they start posting, I'm not going to have a clue what they're talking about? So I try to keep it simple for me to where I can understand what they're doing, and try to keep it to where I'm pretty close to their level and stuff like that, and go from there. So enjoy your weekend. And if I should have a couple videos before the holiday and stuff like that. I may do one on Thanksgiving, wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving and stuff like that. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. Bump me up on the views and stuff like that, and we'll go from there. So have a great weekend, enjoy, and stay safe online.